Good morning, Bix Weir, RoadToRuda.com. Morning Horn of Zeese, your cup of coffee. Really interesting stuff to work on today. But first, I announced last night that Road to Ruda is giving away the new RootaCoin. Really cool coin. Check it out. Double strike. It's got luster on it. It's got numbers. It's got a plastic case to keep it safe, and in a black box, along with a PPT token, populist token. Check out the video yesterday, but for every new subscription to the private road and for every renewal, I am giving away one of these. Really cool coin. I did a video on it yesterday. It's got Ruda on it. It's got the cave in the side of the Grand Canyon. It's got the Federal Reserve. It's got the silver brick road. All the stuff you guys love on the Road to Ruda. So go to the RootaCoin.com website and check on this right here, this subscribe today link, and you will see what the offer is. But this is once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime. I swear it's once in a lifetime. I am not selling this coin retail, so don't ask me. I've had so many people say, I want to buy it, but I don't want to sign up for membership. Nope, that's not how it works. This preserves the scarcity of the coins, and it keeps the lights on for the Road to Ruda. So if you enjoy the RoadToRuda.com commentary, I would ask you to buy one, please. Buy a subscription to the Road to Ruda. They'll probably go on eBay at some point if you only want the coin. I don't know what they'll sell for, but we're going to keep the scarcity there. So check it out at RoadToRuda.com. Now moving on. The insanity of what's going on right now at so many levels on social engineering. Google is kind of the heart of the what is it? Social justice companies, and so far leaning left. That's amazing. They changed their algorithm, so if you type in, everybody's just used to typing in searches on Google, not thinking that, hey, this is a company with definitely a political agenda going for the far left. So you type in, is Trump going to, how can I vote for Trump? It'll come out, Trump is bad for America, and things like that. It's been proven. Check out the YouTube videos on that. The latest is this memo saying that this anti-gender bias at Google is hurting the company and culture. It's reverse discrimination, all that. The latest is they fired the guy who wrote the memo that was criticizing the policy of not the insanity of everything going on in California. I'm right in the middle of it. Yes, there are two genders. There's a man and a woman. There's not 47 different genders like they're trying to claim. But that's my opinion. And I'm perfectly legitimate opinion, and everybody can have their own opinion. Don't force me to believe in your opinion. Let people be people. Don't give me 57 different bathrooms for each gender. The insanity of breaking down the genders is part of the larger agenda of the Soros gang and the Clinton gang and the Bush gang. They're trying to degenderize the American people and the world. I mean, Google's all over the world. And what they've done on YouTube, because they own YouTube, is just as bad as what they're doing with their search engine, just as bad as what's going on at the company, on a company level. I would encourage everybody to think about either boycotting Google or at least understanding that they control the media. I still use the Google search engine because it's easier and better. And I was typing up, I was searching for things about Google and about how they rig their algorithms to, in their search engine, to pop up the agenda that they want to put forward. But I was doing it on a Google search engine. It's so hard to get out of that mindset. It's unbelievable. But yeah, I'm glad that Google is in a firestorm. I hope it continues. I hope it gets worse. The company is, they just think they're so far above everything. Same with Facebook. Same with a lot of these multimedia giants who are really deceitfully trying to change the mindset in America, and they can do it easily because they have monopolies pretty much over the internet, over search engines, over YouTube videos and things like that. It's really sad what America is coming to. That should be legal, but they're private companies. Oh, they're public companies, and the share owners should revolt, in my opinion. But we'll see what shakes out after all this stuff. I'm just tired of it. I live in California. I'm so tired of, if I say anything about a conservative point of view, or I like Trump, or I don't believe in all these laws that give people everything. California is going bankrupt, in case you didn't notice, and they're spending all their money, all this infrastructure money that the government gave them, on diversity programs, and it's just insane. And then California is going to go to the U.S. government, and the government's going to say, well, the Trump government would say, no, we're not giving you any more money. So yeah, we are coming to that point in the United States where it's time to either put up or shut up and stop relying on our government for so much. So I do see the coming collapse of the government, not necessarily the United States of America. I see it's going back to our Constitution, but the government needs to go, all of it. It's just too off the charts, and they'll take Google with it, in my opinion. All right, speaking of the government and rigging the markets and what is allowed and not allowed, the world's most corrupt company is JP Morgan. At least over the last 20 years, they rigged the silver market, they rigged the gold market, they rig every market, the natural gas market. They are absolute criminals. They were the only banker at Bernie Madoff. One banker doing a $50 billion Ponzi scheme. Whatever happened to know your customer in the banking industry, nobody knows. So yes, the Volcker rule doesn't apply to JP Morgan. The London Whale doesn't apply to JP Morgan. And here's what happened lately. News reports that prosecutors have dropped their case against Bruno Ixel. You know how they love to point to one guy who does not have the authority to approve all these transactions. Every company, especially large banks, have approval limits of individual traders, of management, of the CEO and the CFO and the board. These trades had to be approved by the CEO, the CFO, and the board. And they were approved, and they just decided to have one guy they want to blame it on. But they dropped the charges because they can do that. Let's go through the news. Reports that prosecutors have dropped their case against Bruno Ixel, the former JP Morgan trader known to many as the London Whale. Comes as no surprise to the readers of the IRA. Ixel, who resurfaced earlier this year, has been living in relative seclusion in France for the past few years with his millions and millions of dollars. In previous comments posted on Zero Hedge, we dispensed with the notion that the investment activities of Ixel and the office of the JP Morgan Chief Investment Officer were either illegal or concealed from the bank's senior management. The fact is that Ixel and his colleagues at JP Morgan were doing their jobs, namely generating investment gains for the bank. The outsized bets made by the whale in credit derivative contracts resulted in loss in 2012, but the operation generated significant profits for JP Morgan in earlier years. As veteran risk manager Nom de Plumer told Zero Hedge in 2012, this JP Morgan loss, whether $2 billion or $5 billion, is modest in both absolute and relative terms versus all overall profitability and capital base, and especially against the far greater losses at other institutions. In the practical current terms, the hit resembles a rounding error, not a stomach punch. As either taxpayers or long-term JP Morgan investors, we should be more grateful than sorry about JP Morgan's ICO, Ina Drew, the infamous Ina Drew. If only other institutions could also do so poorly. The reality is, I have no idea why the London trade is illegal. JP Morgan, if they're going to lose all of their money, let them lose all of their money. What are they prosecuting for? I say let them lose all their money. But the problem comes in is that the taxpayer comes in and bails these criminal banks out. JP Morgan got bailout money just like everybody else. They claimed they didn't need it in 2008. They claimed they didn't need it because all their derivatives were going bad, and they knew that if the banking system collapsed, they would collapse right with it because they're counterparties to all these derivatives. But they needed the money just as much as everybody else. And that's what the mistake was. The mistake was the congressional approval of the bailout. And yeah, let J.P. Morgan lose all the money they have. That would be a great thing for the world. And if they did anything criminal, which, I mean, just the fact that they were Bernie Madoff's only banker is criminal on every level. From one person who handled the account to the people who approved it, which is Jamie Dimon, the CEO, and the board had to approve those Bernie Madoff transactions. So they should all be in jail, but they aren't because this is America. When J.P. Morgan and other large banks began to implement the Volcker Rule, after the passage of the 2010 Dodd-Frank law, the activities of Ixel and his colleagues in New York came to light. Principal trading, which is now outlawed by the Volcker Rule, creates enormous opportunities and conflicts for banks that act both as traders and lenders. When caught in the act, the bank naturally cast Ixel's activities as being somehow illicit and against company policy. It's just, the whole thing is criminal. And it goes on to talk more about, let's see, the very end here, more. If the CEO of a bank, any bank, can short-circuit the internal controls of his institution in order to enhance returns with a bet at the credit derivative roulette table, then by definition that bank cannot be safe and sound. That's a fact. JP Morgan is the largest short silver position on the COMEX. They aren't safe and sound. They have one of the biggest derivative books in the whole world. How can you even imagine these guys are safe and sound? It's insane. The whole world is insane. I'm tired of talking about that. Here's the really cool news of the day, right here. And that is that, and this is something I've been saying for a while, that, you know, when people are saying, oh man, the Bitcoin is doomed because all the miners can collude and there's going to be 2 or 3 huge miners and they're going to collude and destroy everything else Bitcoin related. And my answer was always, at some point, every government in the world is going to be mining Bitcoin. And so there won't be this large concentration. And voila, what do we see today? An announcement that Russia launches a $100 million Bitcoin mining operation. Bravo, Russia. If you know anything about Russia and Bitcoin and China and Bitcoin, they are moving along with it because they understand it gets them out of the old system, the U.S. England dominated system. So Putin is building some mining operation. So there goes the whole argument against Bitcoin that it's a handful of miners that are going to control this. In what some have called a watershed moment for Bitcoin, Bloomberg reports that a company co-owned by an aide to President Vladimir Putin is seeking to expand Russia's Bitcoin mining industry, leveraging Russia's cheap energy to rival China as the world's largest mining market. The company, known as Russian Miner Coin, or RMC, is seeking to raise $100 million in an ICO, promising buyers a right to 18% of the company's revenue, according to a presentation cited by Bloomberg. Russian Miner Coin is holding a so-called ICO offering where investors will use units of Ethereum or Bitcoin to buy new RCM tokens. These tokens will have the right to 18% of the revenue earned with the company's mining equipment, according to a presentation posted on its website. I might be investing in that ICO. That sounds like something interesting. Of course, a lot of due diligence needs to go into it, and then you got to think about the political risk because you're investing in a company. People within that company and the companies within Russia, will Russia shut the doors? There's a lot of things to think about in these ICOs. According to Brian Kelly, a frequent CNBC contributor, the announcement is a watershed development in the history of Bitcoin because it suggests that Putin recognizes the value of pioneering digital currency as a reserve asset. The Russian president has already expressed an interest in blockchain technology, particularly Ethereum. In June, he met with Ethereum founder Vitalik Buterin on the sidelines of the St. Petersburg Economic Forum and offered his support for Buterin's plans to help local partners adopt the technology in Russia. My friends, anybody who says Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies will never make it has to wake up. How many times do you have to be slapped in the face before you wake up? Here's an obvious one. The world is moving on without you. And I say this, Peter Schiff, great example, still doesn't get it. Unbelievable. Chris Duane still doesn't get it. Unbelievable. People, we got to wake up. Wake up and smell the coffee. Wake up and smell the horn of Zeese. So that's great news. And we'll finish off with what the cryptos are doing right now. Bitcoin is at $3,304. Yeah, doing well. My number of $10,000 before the end of the year, which I predicted back in December, is not looking so crazy anymore, is it? Bitcoin is just on a roll, absolutely on a roll. The fork stuff is not over. By no means is it over, and there's a lot of drama left, which is fine. You know, obviously Bitcoin is stronger than the drama. Bitcoin Cash, I don't know. Right now it's up in the air. What's it going to be used for is the question. Is it as good as Litecoin? I don't think so at all. Right now, what people are doing are selling their Bitcoin Cash and buying Bitcoin. So basically, you're getting more upward support for Bitcoin. At some point, Bitcoin Cash would have to come to Jesus. Is the code usable? Can it be used for what they want it to be used for? Which is basically what Litecoin does, 4 times faster and able to scale. And Litecoin is the call. If you're thinking about what humanity is going to use as a means of exchange going forward, Bitcoin is not a good means of exchange. It takes too long and it's too expensive. And it will always be that way because of what the core developers have done to it. But hey, you know, every currency system needs a gold as a backing, and that's what Bitcoin will be, is gold. And Litecoin is your cash, is your spendable money. It's reliable, it's fast, it's cheap. That's what Bitcoin Cash will strive to be, but it's got so many technological hurdles to get through before it ever gets there. Most people can't even get their Bitcoin Cash out of their wallet. There are exchanges that have started to trade it. Let me look at those exchanges right now for Bitcoin Cash. Currently, the markets it is trading on, you know, how this number came about, 327, nobody really knows. I think they're looking at what Ethereum Classic is trading for versus Ethereum. But I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be around. I'm not in Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash at the moment because I know there's months of shakeout still going to happen. So I'm sitting on the sidelines on that one. And there's so many other coins to invest in Veritasium and PPT tokens, Populous. Great examples of coins that aren't traded on the big exchanges yet. When they do, they're going to go nutso. Litecoin, Ethereum. But if you look at, here's where the Bitcoin Cash markets are: Bittrex, Bitfinex, HitBTC, Kraken. So yeah, it's being traded on a lot of exchanges. I don't know where it will go. I know there's still battles behind the scenes between the core group and the Bitcoin Unlimited group. The core group obviously wants to take down Bitcoin Cash. I don't know. I don't know what they're planning to do, but you get a lot of pissed off computer programmers together, and you know, it's kind of hard to trust what's going to happen to Bitcoin Cash. So we'll see. Keep your eyes open on that one. But in the meantime, we've got a whole bunch of other cryptocurrencies that are great investments. Ethereum. I don't like Ripple. I like Litecoin. What else do I like? Monero's okay for privacy. EOS still unknown. It's not an Ethereum killer, as Jeff Berwick claimed. It could be one day, but that's years off. So it might be a great solution. If it works, nobody knows if it's going to work, and nobody knows if it's going to get adopted. Nobody knows anything, really. This is a work in progress, but the potential is what's being priced in, and it's a $500 million market cap. That's a lot of potential. So I wish it all the best. I own a little bit of EOS. Steemit, I have a little bit of Steemit. They have a problem with their investment model, how they get money in. When you're in Steem, it's a popularity vote, and you can post your videos, and if you get popular, people are going to send you Steem. But as far as new money coming in, that's where the tokens really get their value. You're not going to see much of that. Veritasium, it jumps around. It's very volatile, as you can tell. Unbelievable stuff. Reggie Middleton is going to have announcement after announcement after announcement. Once the Jamaican Stock Exchange deal is done, he's got another top 10 exchange. That's interesting. A top 10 exchange means it's going to be either like Toronto or the Frankfurt exchange, gigantic exchanges, multi-trillion-dollar exchanges using Veritasium. Can you imagine? So yeah, I think Veritasium is one of those hidden gems. It's still not traded. If you go to the Veritasium site, you check out markets. Look at that volatility. Check out markets, and there you go. You have basically, it's traded on Ether Delta, so it could be slammed, it could be jacked up high. The reason the large exchanges are not picking up Veritasium is because Veritasium can take them out. And I think Veritasium is just going to start their own market, and everybody's going to go over to the Veritasium market because it solves all the problems that the current cryptocurrency exchanges have, which is truth and honesty. You know, they deal in pools. So all the trades that happen on Kraken and Bitfinex and all that, those aren't trades that happen on the blockchains of any of the coins. Those are trades within their own pool, kind of like Mt. Gox. They traded within itself. Millions and millions of Bitcoin would trade every day, and yet there wasn't even that many Bitcoin out there. They're all trading back and forth to each other, and they're not blockchain transactions. Veritasium can fix all that, so they're not going to allow it to see the light of day, which is fine. Now's the time to accumulate your Veritasium. Other exciting ones to me, 10x. I like the pay token, the pay business model. Anything with a business model in the cryptos is amazing, because a lot of them are just ideas that are might play out in the next 2 or 3 years. 10x is playing out right now. Very excited about that. Populous. If you listen to Cliff High's report, Populous is a monster. It's going to be huge, and the invoice, the refinancing, and all that. Financing of invoices, basically, if you have invoices that are past due, not even past due, a flow of invoices coming in, you can sell off that money stream, get the money ahead of time. Huge revenue center for the banks. Populous is just going to kick the banks out. The banks might attack Populous. That's the only risk I see there, but I think that's a monster going forward. And then you have you name your coin and you got it out there. Some will be great, some will be huge, some will be the biggest in the world. It's hard to figure out which is going to be which. So do your best out there. Keep your cryptos close at hand. Always keep them in your own possessions, either on paper wallets or electronic wallet like a Trezor. Never, ever, ever keep substantial amounts on an exchange or on a online wallet like Coinbase or BitPay or anything. Never. Only keep wallets online that you are okay with losing. Everything else keep. It's just like silver. Only keep silver you're okay with losing in a vault. I don't care who runs the vault. I don't care if it's Mother Teresa controlling the keys to that vault. When the system falls apart, Mother Teresa can't control the guards that are surrounding the vault. So the guards will take your silver out of there. If you don't have it in your own possession, you don't own it. It's as simple as that. As we get closer and closer to this monetary / government crash, now is the time to get all your assets within your own possession. I can't even stress how important this is. Very important, shall we say. So that's it for me right now. Again, if you want to join the private road and get this unbelievable silver coin and one token of PPT, Populous, together in one, mailed right to your front door, join the Road to Ruda private road. And go to the Road to Ruda website, click on subscribe today, and it takes you to this page. You scroll down, it tells you what the private road's all about. It's $299 for a year, and you get all this stuff, and you can buy it right there with the PayPal button. Or if you're a Bitcoin lover, you can send Bitcoin, and make sure you send me an email with your address of where I can mail the coin and the PPT token. All right, you guys have a good day. Those interested, I'll be chatting with V the Gorilla Economist at 10 o'clock Pacific time today, 1 o'clock Eastern time, and it's our weekly Hump Day interview. So check it out. Talk to you later.